Corgi. Tristan. Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi. And we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And he's wearing on his scarf today Labradors, which match his coat, and also the topic of today's discussion. So my cards are going to be available on Amazon later today, but we'll talk about them tomorrow because I don't want somebody to run to Amazon at 10:30 this morning and not be able to find them. So I'm not exactly sure what time they'll be up, but we will certainly be sending out emails today, and tomorrow we'll have a big announcement about that, and also about my sister's book, probably on Sunday. So today we are going to talk about another job that dogs have, and this is a huge category of dogs. And over centuries, this has been a much more important category than it is now in terms of a dog with a job. And that is hunting dogs. Hunting dogs fit many categories of breeds, and they do all kinds of interesting specialized tasks. So hunting dogs are really probably some of the earliest ancestors of domestic dogs, and probably when wolves discovered that humans, hi Danny, were fun to hunt with and beneficial to hunt with, that is when we started to really breed specifically for hunting dogs to help us. And there are so many categories of hunting dogs, and they do so many different jobs. It's a really interesting kind of category to look at dogs with jobs. And it includes hounds and terriers, dachshunds, gun dogs, retrievers, all different kinds of dogs. And we'll look at some of the specific ones along the way. And of course, these go over all kinds of AKC categories, and these kinds of dogs are now mostly house pets, but they have still got lots of hunting instincts, which make them interesting to be share a home with them with some of these dogs. So hounds is one whole section, and they include sight hounds and scent hounds, and they are used to hunt rabbits, raccoons, coyotes, and some large predators. So sight hounds, like the whippet or greyhounds, are adapted for their visual ability and their speed. And if you look at the shape of a sight hound's head, as a craniosacral therapist, this is fascinating to me. They have a long, pointy nose so that they can really use that nose to locate a scent and then not have any obstruction for their eyes to locate the prey. And they do something called coursing, which is when the prey is far away and then they stalk it, pursue it, and then kill it. And sight hounds work quickly and quietly and are by nature pretty independent dogs. And they make great pets. As long as you're not out on a walk without a leash and they see a rabbit far, far away across the street, they're pretty good dogs. I love them. They're usually very relaxed. Scent hounds include things like the coon hound and the bloodhound, and they hunt by scent. And they often trail and then sometimes kill the game that they are hunting. And they often hunt in packs. This would include, of course, foxhounds and dogs like that. And the leaders in the group will go on a chase, and the quarry is usually chased up a tree and sometimes killed, but not always. And these dogs are known for their big, loud barks, so that when they were way out ahead of the hunter guys or gals, they can be heard so that you can find them. And then lurchers, which are not so popular in the United States, but in England there are lurchers. And a lurcher is a sight hound crossed with a working breed, and they are used for working and also as hounds that are sight and scent hounds. So they look like a big kind of heavier whippet. I love lurchers. I think they're great dogs, but they are fast. Gotta be able to run to keep up with them. And then there's a whole category of hounds, and of working hunting dogs called gun dogs. And of course, growing up in the 50s and 40s, these were many of the dogs that people had, because coming out of the Depression, game was a big part of your diet. And so a lot of people had gun dogs and cherished their ability to hunt so that people could eat through the winter. So retrievers are one type of gun dog, and they are specifically useful to sit in a duck blind all day and then spot and remember where a dog went down in the water. A bird went down in the water. Tristan, losing my corgi. Where a bird went down, and then they jump into the water and retrieve the downed bird. Okay, they can follow hand, verbal, or whistle commands to get the bird, and they usually have big, gentle muzzles. And this includes, golden retrievers, Labrador retrievers, Chesapeake Bay retrievers, all of the retrievers. And interestingly, a lot of these retrievers were once classified as water spaniels. And there's not too many of them now that have water spaniel in them. But if you look at the golden retriever, he has that silky hair of a spaniel. And then there's a whole category of gun dogs called setters. And these are the kinds of dogs I grew up with, English setters. I love English setters and Llewellyn setters. And setters have been used as gun dogs, not where it's marshy and low like the retrievers. And they seem to have an innate ability to locate and point at game birds. That includes grouse and pheasants and quails and all of those things. And at the command of the person, the dog will flush the birds so that the person can then shoot them. Another category of gun dogs are spaniels. Now, it's hard for us to imagine today a Cocker Spaniel being a gun dog, but in fact, spaniels have been hunting dogs for hundreds of years, and spaniels have been used to locate and flush game for a hunter. So you've got the English Cocker in there, the Brittany Spaniel, all of the spaniels. And it's interesting to me, with my sister having Cavaliers, that in fact Cavalier Spaniels come from hunting spaniels. And certainly I learned a lot from that little guy George chasing the chicken. In fact, spaniels are supposed to locate and flush a bird, not pounce on it as George did that day. But spaniels are indeed hunting dogs, and one of the oldest types of hunting dogs are the spaniels. They're great for their compact size and their great hunting ability. And again, if you look at their coat color, it blends in with grasses, sort of like zebra stripes. They are often spotty or brown and spotty so that they can blend in so that the birds can't see them until it's time to flush them. Another category are pointers. Pointers are trained to locate and point at small game. So then the hunter can approach and flush the game. So this is a huge problem if your pointer is flushing the game before you get there. Pointers are supposed to set the point. So this includes short-haired pointers and lots of other pointing breeds in the United States. I think Weimaraners were pointers. A lot of these hunting dogs, they have a short coat and they have that characteristic stance where they pick up one foot and hold it to point at where the birds are. And they also have a really intense stare when they're looking at the birds. Oh, you had a lab, a Thursday. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, yes, the corgis are missing. Oh, yeah, pheasant. Labs, really. Labs are known for retrieving game, not pointing game. So then we're going to look at the next part of this section of game dogs, and that would include water dogs, which is another type of retriever. This includes poodles, Portuguese water dogs, all of those. They are strong swimmers with a lot of endurance, and they are used to hunt all kinds of birds, like some of the bigger ones like geese, because a lot of these dogs are bigger and stronger. And of course, you look at a Labrador, and they've got that thick, oily coat, which repels water when they're diving in to get the birds, usually in the fall season when that's when we hunt birds. And poodles, people often forget, but the poofs on the poodles are over their joints, and so that's supposed to keep them warm when they're in the water. But poodles also have hair, not fur, And so I just find it hard to believe that a poodle or a Portuguese water dog are going to be very happy in cold water the way a Labrador would be. Then there's a little section of dogs called feists, and they are small dogs that hunt game, especially squirrels. Similar to hounds hunting raccoons and bigger games, they hunt in packs and bark up the hunter to let him know where the game has been treed. And they are mostly a terrier mix, and they were bred by Native American dogs being bred together, and they are mostly popular in the southern United States. So what may look like just a mutt could in fact be one of these special dogs called a feist that hunts small game, particularly squirrels. And how can we forget the terriers? Terriers are also hunting dogs. They hunt small mammals, and they are used to locate the den of the target animal, and then they bolt, capture, or kill the animal, meaning they flush him out of his den, they capture him and hold him down, or they kill the animal that they're getting. A working terrier can go underground to drive out the game, and there are certainly really cool competitions now for terriers to hunt buried game in a little cage so that the terrier can't hurt him. And people who work with terriers are called terrier men. And I just love terriers. There's so many different kinds of terriers. And larger members of this category of terriers include the bull and the bull terrier family, and they are used to hunt larger game like razorbacks, which are pigs. And a hunter will often send in a scent hound to corner the pig, and then the terrier will come in to charge at the pig and bite it and hold it down until the hunter comes. And that's why a lot of these like bull terriers and pit bulls have that kind of bite that won't let go, because they are supposed to hold that pig until somebody can come and shoot him. And a wild boar is a really, really fierce animal. So these dogs have to be really courageous and tough. And it is really incredible to watch them try to hold a wild boar. I mean, no sensible animal would want to tangle with one of them. And these dogs are really tough. And then we have curs, which are similar to terriers, but they usually hunt larger game. The Catahoula hound, which is kind of a spotty, leggy hound, go into this category, and they hunt boars and raccoons and cougars even, and other large mammals. So they're very interesting. And then, amazingly, the dachshunds are a category of these extra hunting dogs, and I love dachshund personalities. They are really something, and they are bred to scent, chase, and flush out some of the bigger game, badgers, foxes, and other burrow-dwelling animals. And the miniature dachshund, not bred as a house pet, was originally developed for small prey like rabbits. I think a rabbit does not stand a chance with a dachshund. Oh my God, they are fierce little dogs. And bunnies, they tend to stay when they're terrified. So in the West, they have also used dachshunds to hunt prairie dogs. That must be a fun day for a dachshund. And in Europe, dachshunds are used for hunting deer, boar, and smaller game, such as bunnies, hares, and rabbits. And they are also excellent scent dogs used to track down wounded animals after a car accident, for instance. So you can do a lot with a dachshund, and boy, as much as they are fierce, they also have a great ability to scent. Their noses are amazing, and they have those floppy ears like a hound to hold the scent around their faces so that they can track. And they also have that long pointy nose and the eyes that are big as a sighthound would. So a dachshund is actually, as funny as they look, a really smartly bred supreme hunting dog assistant. And they are one of the only breeds that can hunt both above ground and below ground. So dachshunds are very interesting in this category of hunting dogs. So a little closer look at this. We have lots of these spaniels, the American and English Cocker, the Brittany, the English Spaniel, Clumber, Sussex, and Field Spaniels. And some of these bigger, heavier ones are known for their methodical hunting pattern. They're just really wonderful. And then you've got the Water Spaniel, the Irish Water Spaniel, the Irish Water Spaniels are used in cool, damp conditions, and they have a curly coat and a tail that is like a whip to help them in the water. And then also we've got the hounds, which includes the sight hounds and the scent hounds. So the scent hounds are the newer group of these two different categories. And of course, that's where we find our friend the beagle, the bloodhound, the coon hound. The coon hounds have been used to hunt bears. Again, if a bear turns on you, you do not want to be in a fight with a bear. They're like a boar and just as fierce. And so you need that coon hound to be able to run over different terrain. And if you're lucky, the bear will go up a tree, and then the coon hound can bay, and you can come to shoot the bear. And bears used to be quite threatening to people. Now we kind of live in a okay coexistence with them, although you do occasionally hear about a person getting too close to a bear and it not going very well. And beagles are from the British Isles from at least the 16th century, and they were used to hunt rabbits and foxes. And of course, we all know Snoopy sitting on his doghouse is a beagle. And sight hounds are different from scent hounds. Sight hounds include deer hounds and salukis. They're some of the most beautiful, slender breeds of dogs that there are, and they often work in independently, and they're kind of an independent dog, or they work in a small group of 2 or 3 other dogs together. The Irish wolfhound is part of this sight hound group, and the wolfhound is particularly known to have the endurance to course and chase and then kill a wolf. And a wolf has incredible endurance. So these wolfhounds can really, really run and not get tired. And ridgebacks, which are used to hunt lions, they say, they are not fast runners, but again, because of that heavy body, they have a long ability of endurance to run for a long time. And then we have all the setters and pointers, which include the Weimaraner, the Vizsla, Irish setters, Irish red and white setters, pointers, English setters, Gordon setters, all different kinds of pointers. German pointers, the short-haired, the wire-haired. And then we have the retrievers and the multi-hunter categories, or multi-purpose. We have the duck-rolling retriever, the golden retriever, curly-coated retrievers, Chesapeake Bay retrievers. All of those dogs are used to retrieve fallen birds. And again, as I mentioned, this is why they became great house pets. They had to sit in that duck blind for hours and hours sometimes, and then when the ducks are flushed up out of the water, then there's a lot of shooting and the ducks start falling, and that retriever has to be able to notice where the ducks are and jump out and get them. And it's led to many fun dog sports to do with your retrievers today, including the one where you stand on a dock and you throw something out into the water, and then the dog dives in and swims to retrieve the item. And this is just such a fun sport in the summer with your dog. And at one of these big, or actually probably most of the giant pet expos that I go to, they have a big swimming pool set up and have a competition, and it's really exciting to watch these dogs. They are so anxious to jump in the water and retrieve. And I've seen border collies and other breeds do it, but boy, when those Labradors are lined up ready to jump, they are so excited. You can see they're doing what they have been bred for centuries to do. And poodles, which we know to be quite intelligent as well, are great water dogs, and they also have been used to flush quail and pheasant, and they have a lot of different skills as hunters. And then we have all the kinds of terriers. Cairn terriers in particular, bred in Scotland. That's the little dog that was in The Wizard of Oz, and Tristan's girlfriend Coco. She's a Cairn Terrier. They're from Scotland, and their coat is waterproof and with a soft inner layer that is great for that cool, damp condition you see in Scotland. And the Jack Russell Terrier is also, like the Cairn, used for hunting rats, and they come in the flat coat and the wiry coat. And Jack Russells, I have seen them do this live and on TV. They can kill a rat in seconds. You can open a bag of rats and they will grab it by the neck, shake it and throw it and bite the next one in less than 10 seconds. I mean, they are just supreme rat dogs, and they are pretty incredible. So, and in fox hunting, Not that I'm an advocate of fox hunting, but certainly it's nice to follow a marathon runner who's dragged fox scent around, and then the hounds are following that. But in fox hunting, they have used often a Jack Russell to get the fox to come out of his hole so that the hunters can then kill him. So Jack Russells have been part of fox hunting in different places. They have lots of courage, these little terriers. That's partly why we think they're stubborn. They're very courageous. They have fast reflexes and great stamina, and they can run for miles without getting tired. And of course, lots of horse people have Jack Russells and Corgis in their barns, and Jack Russells are great for keeping down the rat population, but they're tiny little dogs, and they can run for miles following a horse on a long trail ride. So they really do have a lot of stamina, and they are great little dogs in a lot of ways, but like so many, they have to be kept busy or they can get in a lot of trouble. So that is an overview of hunting dogs, and as you can see, that covers a huge range of types and sizes, from the little tiny fierce dachshund to the giant Irish wolfhound. These types of dogs do all kinds of work and really specialized tasks of hunting, for smelling, seeing, retrieving, flushing, pointing. They do a lot of different jobs, and certainly we are not necessarily dependent on hunting dogs for food anymore, but there is a huge number of hunting dog lovers and breeders in the United States that continue to enjoy them for sport and for fun. They have field trials in the fall where you ride out on horses often, and you can watch pointers working and bird dogs, English setters working in the field. And it's just a really wonderful thing for these dogs to get to do the jobs that they were born to do. So I'm not a huge fan of hunting either, being a vegetarian, but so many of these things now are done in a way where no animals are harmed in the making of the sports for these dogs, and that I'm on board with. But hunting dogs go back thousands and thousands of years in their relationships with us, and because of that, Labrador sitting patiently in the duck blind, that makes them great house pets because they're patiently waiting around the living room to do some retrieving. So they used to be, they still are actually a really popular breed, but they used to be even more popular years ago. I mean, there are just so many of them. And what a nice thing to live near the sea and play catch with a Labrador in the ocean with a ball. They love that. That is what they are made to do. Poodles as well. And certainly I have seen dachshunds, because I have friends that are dachshunds, tear around my yard after voles and mice, and they are just so excited when they find some game. And I think dachshunds are pretty tough little dogs underneath all their cute little eyes and their floppy ears, and they're wanting to go under the covers with you at night. But they really are fierce hunting dogs. And this category of dogs with jobs is quite diverse. So we will be back tomorrow at 9:30 for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi, where hopefully I can introduce you to my cards. I don't think I'll have an actual one, but I will have a computer-generated model that I can share with you and talk about what they are. And then we'll also be talking about my sister's book, and we're wrapping up this series about dogs with jobs earlier next week. So thanks for joining us today. We hope everybody has a great day. It is really cold out here. It's 12 degrees. Which frankly does not sound that cold to me, but at this time of year, this is very unusual. We usually at 12 degrees mid-January. Biscuits. He said, I heard I don't hunt. I find the bunny and chase him in circles. So thanks for joining us today. Everyone stay warm, and we will definitely have next week some tips on taking good care of your pets in the cold weather. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.